And here finally white made a mistake. Yeah, you have to go here and uh, and this is still a draw with perfect play, but in any event, the game ended like this, and so Joseph ended up beating Brewington, right? And then that causes massive tie for first with 6 out of 7. So pretty big game there by Joseph Levine against the only grandmaster in the tournament, Brewington. This was also a pretty interesting endgame. It's white to play. How do you think we should play? So in this position, white ended up playing rook f5, which was a mistake. White should have played b4, um, or c4, something like that, um, or a4. Basically start pushing these pawns, and because the point is like black has no way to make progress here, because your black is tied down to the pawns, and white will create counterplay, right? So black has nothing better than a draw here. But instead of that, white played rook f5, which is a bad move, right? Because then this allowed the black king get in the game. Even though white won the pawn here, but it's not that relevant, this pawn, compared to allowing the king to get active, right? And once the king gets in, then black will be able to do some damage. Black ended up playing rook d3, and here white missed a drawing chance to play rook g5, tying black down to these pawns again. Right? And this is once again would have been a draw. But yeah, and then black eventually won this. Rook g5, pretty accurate move. You win the pawn, and then black won the game. All right, let's see another example. This is Kieran Nasta against Gadi Varun. So it's white to play. What do you think white should play? Yeah, I think so, yeah. Yeah, so for this position, like there's honestly more than one way to win. I think the easiest is just to go king c2, activate the king, threatening here. If takes, you take here, check here, and then you are able to play rook rook a4. Um, but okay, there are many other moves that also win. b5 probably also wins, but not c takes d4. Well, c takes d4 is like a little less clear. Um, yeah, if you play c4, yeah, probably d3. Yeah, I guess that also wins. But okay, here, b5. And now, yeah, black had this draw with rook d1 check, which is so already taking on d4 is a little inaccurate because now you have to be like very precise to still win. And well, white played b5 and which allowed this drawing chance, right, with this nice move, rook d1 check. Because after king here, you have rook d5 now, and after king c2, you have rook d5 still. Yeah, and there is no way to defend card at once, so pretty nice point here. Okay, in the game, black played there, and white ended up winning nonetheless. Okay, the next one is this one's pretty interesting. So how should black hold the draw here? So here actually the best option was rook takes e3. Now okay, h5 doesn't really do that much because of rook b3, rook b5. So rook takes h6, g takes h4, rook takes h4. Yeah, and here it's a draw with perfect play. Oh well, rook e5, rook h5, but this is like okay. Um, however, okay, black played this, which kind of makes sense, but there was one detail that was missed here in this line. Um, yeah, it says king f4 is a big point. Yeah, and then after this, yeah, that you don't have to capture, right? So there was a pretty big point. Rook c5, white is winning this endgame. 3 against 1. And the white rook gets behind the passed pawn. And yeah, rook b7 cuts off the king here, 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 and then white won this game. Rook e1's a nice try, but rook e8. Okay. Let's take a look at the next one. This one was a pretty big win here by Nitesh, who ended up winning K8 championship. So here he's like pressing a little bit against Artemi, and Nitesh is white. And the question is, how would you try to hold this as black? Yeah, so here black was very low on the clock, right? He had 1 second left with 10-second delay. So it's very understandable that black lost this. The correct move is bishop e7, which guards the c5 pawn. And then this is met with king h8. Yeah, and then black can hold this endgame. But everything else actually loses. The game continuation bishop c7 loses because of what? Yeah, okay, everyone's. Well, actually, it's white played bishop f5 first. So you see everybody said a5, but actually it's not accurate. Because if you start with a5 and then here there's king h6, right? And if you play here, there's bishop g6. So it's very important to start with this first, because depending on what black plays, you can decide if you're going to play a5 or something else, right? Because if they go here, you're actually not going to play a5 yet. You're going to win in a different way. King f3 here, king g4 here, takes h7, and you're going to win by penetrating into e6, d7. Yeah, exactly. The bishop is really bad. Yeah, yeah, you're gonna win all these pawns, right? So white is winning in this position. And yeah, and if you play king h8, then a5 breaks through, right? Because then the bishop can get over here, and white wins this game. Yeah, I mean it's still not that easy, but it is winning. Um, king g8, h7 here, and then just c5. Bishop takes c6, and then let's say I go here, c7 and bishop e7. That's the idea. Um, so yeah, in the game, Black played here, but then just lost after this. So so yeah, it was bishop c7 was losing. Instead of that, it was better to play bishop e7, but all the other moves actually also probably losing, right? Because king g8 still a5. Takes king h7. Uh, well, actually, not so clear if it's losing. Maybe, yeah, I don't know actually. Maybe king g8 still not losing, but bishop g8 I think I saw also as a suggestion, but then there's still this a5, right? And bishop f8. So either way, right, you would rather not allow a5, right, than play bishop e7. But with 10 seconds to move, it's kind of tough. So, okay, so now let's go over some other examples. This one, oops, sorry. Um, so this one like has more than one way to win, but yeah, this is the position here. So how would you try to win this with black? Um, yeah, so here there's like more than one way to win, but I would say rook c5, king e4 is like the simplest. King e4, king g3. Um, but rook e4 looked like it was winning, right? King f4, g3, but this was actually not winning because of this nice idea a5, right? Like white sacrifices this pawn, right? And then after a5 takes here, rook takes a5, and then rook takes a7, and here white is white is drawing here. All right, this one is black to play. What should black do in this position? Yeah, so here, a lot of people are moving bishop. Yeah, actually, the best move in this position, which I don't think a lot of people has mentioned it, just a few, I think, is rook a d8. Now, so it's good I actually gave this exercise. Now, this was not a very high rated game, um, but I still thought the endgame example is very instructive because it's on a theme of like how to play with your rooks. And this is something that I noticed that even like strong masters struggle with a little bit, right? I have a friend who's a master, an adult who, recently realized he struggles a bit about how to play with rooks. And so it's actually not so easy. And rook a d8 is a very logical move, right? You're not really worried about the double pawns here, because in this case, you can invade with the rook, right? Get a lot of activity. Or king e3, rook d5, right? Also pretty good. So you're not really worried about double pawns, or the pawn on e6 being a little weak, because you open the f file and you have like momentum. And the point of this move is that after like rook d1, and now I can take on a, well, maybe not here, but like I can sometimes take on a2 because I have this c4. So like rook a d8 makes a lot of sense. Bishop d5 is also like decent, right? But it's activating the rook if you can is usually a nice idea. Black play h6, which is a little bit unnecessary. Yeah, I think bishop d5 was like what people mentioned, or bishop f5. Um, but here I think it's like less accurate because white gets some counterplay. Um, oh, sorry, I guess I'm. Yeah, and even here, right? Like black should have activated the rook, right, at some point, right? But instead, black played like very defensively in this game, played rook g5, and then before you know it, like white got better positioned. Yeah, because now white's active attacking all the pawns, like it's very weak. Yeah, and then like yeah, like black was the lower rated player in the game. Now, black did not resign here. I didn't end up like putting the whole game, but basically black ended up losing this game. So pretty instructive, I think. All right, this one is white to play. Sorry, it's black to play. So the question is, what should we do here? All right, so here, Rook D8 was played. So a lot of people gave Rook C8. Now, Rook C8, the thing is I couldn't play Queen D6, right? Because the problem is that if you go Queen D3, I have Queen C7. Um, Now if you play B3 here, yeah, this I'm not so sure, but let's say Queen E5. Yeah, look, oh, maybe not Queen E5. Hold on. Oh, Rook DD2. Yeah, I guess white holds here. Oh, okay, got it. B3 this position. Um, yeah, here maybe Rook C3 or yeah, maybe AB also fine. Yeah, AB Rook B3. Oh yeah, because you cannot. Yeah, yeah, yeah. The correct idea is Queen C5. Queen C5 is transposing into an endgame because after takes, as we'll see later in the game, the endgame is very good for black, right? So black was black. It made sense for black to transpose into the endgame. However, black played Rook D8, which okay, it seems like it should be good as well, but here white made a mistake, and white could have equalized. What should white do in this position? Um, let's see what we guys put there. So a lot of people said B3. Yeah, B3 is what white played in the game. Also, I see Queen F2. I have Queen A5. Let's see what else people put. Um, yeah, the correct C3, Queen D3. Yeah, yeah, the correct move is A3. Yeah, because if pawn takes Rook C3 is the point, and B3 same thing. Yeah, Rook C3. Um, yeah, and then you're able to take on B4, and the position is unclear here. Everything else is kind of losing. It's too passive, and black's kind of dominating here. Um, yeah, like black's gonna play Rook C8 next move potentially. B3 was played in the game, but then after this, Queen C5, black pretty comfortably won the endgame. Because it's black's very active here, white's rooks are passive, and black can sort of like start invading. G4, King G5, creating second weakness, and eventually won pretty easily here. All right. So let's keep going. This was all right, this is white to move. What should white play here? Oh, yeah, here there's like many ways, but yeah, bishop b3 is okay. But yeah, rook e2, 95, bishop b3 is quite okay for black. And then rook d1, and then only you take on g2. Yeah, white played this, a5, king g2, 95. Yeah, and here still rook e2 was good, guarding b2, but instead black was able to activate the rook, right, which made a pretty big difference. King came to g5, f6, and yeah, eventually black held a draw here. Oh, oh yes, didn't realize that. Didn't realize that one of the people is like in this. Okay, that's pretty cool. Yeah, then there was a game against Tani against Chloe, which I think I might have shown it last Monday. Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you guys did I show it last Monday? I did, I think. Okay. Okay, I did show it. So I'm gonna skip it because yeah. Okay. This one, okay. This one is Joseph Levine, who ended up tying for first against Tran Kwan. So this is Joseph's white, so what should we play? Yeah, but since a lot of people were here, I don't want to like show the same material. Um, so what should white play here? Okay, so let's go over this. So white ended up playing f6. Um, the correct idea is king e3, king f4. Right after that, white would be winning. After rook g7, I'm not so sure because takes rook h5 is still black has counterplay, right? Rook h5, rook f5, and it's still not so clear. However, yeah, white played f6, takes, and here black made a mistake. How should black hold here? Yeah, so now people are getting it. Yeah, rook h5, rook f5 is very strong. Yeah, and then black holds a draw here. Um, everything else loses. Well, no, actually, I lied. Yeah, rook h1. Yeah, rook h1, king e2, then king rook h5, I guess, also. Oh, king b5 also is okay. Here, rook f6. Yeah, I guess this is like fine. Okay. So, yeah, well, rook h6, by the way, would lose, right? Because king e3. And rook h3, you have rook f8. This is what happened in the game. White wins here. Um, okay. Um, so, all right. Let's see what else we have. Okay, so we have a game, Milo against Grayson. Did I show this game last time? Milo against Grayson. No? Okay. Okay. Okay, good. Because I wasn't sure. All right, so this position is black to play. So the first question is, what should black do here? Wait, I did? Okay. Well, there's more to it than just like the first position, obviously, but okay. Yeah, so the correct idea is to trade into pawn endgame. I mean everything else also black has an advantage, but rook takes e2 is a should have been. Oh wait, sorry, this is the position. My bad. Yeah. But I'm guessing that here also it's maybe winning, yeah? Or maybe not actually. Wait, is it win? Oh wait, this is no, no, sorry, guys, I gave you wrong position. Yeah, here apparently it's not winning. Yeah, here apparently it's not winning. Yeah, so it's only winning after the inclusion of a4. Yeah, sorry, that was my mistake. Yeah. So this was winning. Yeah, this was winning. Yeah, here. And then we got this position. So here, the way black can win like in a couple of ways. B5 is apparently winning, and then but it's a little tricky here. Takes here, H4, and then like they will run out of moves basically. But black played A5 here, which is inaccurate. So let's see if we can hold the draw here with white. Here, white missed it, missed the draw. So the right move is G3 here. Um, it's a little tricky, but white can hold this with like spare tempi. Probably don't really want to go into too much details at the moment, but yeah, G3 is the only way to make a draw. F5 loses though, because after F5, both G5 and G takes wins. Yeah, this pawn endgame is very, very tricky, to be honest. Well, anyway, so let's keep going. So A5, white played H4. And here the question is, how should black hold the draw? Sorry, what am I saying? How should black win this? Sorry, my bad. So actually, I see a lot of people are making the same mistake as Grayson did in the game. So something like f6 is a good idea. F6, yeah, after f6, sorry, not f6, my bad. F6 actually king e3 is a draw. But b6 is okay. Because you want to have a spare tempo at some point, g3, f6, and after king e3, only then you go b5. And the point is after this, you take, and you go f5. And now the important thing is that after this, you don't go king e4, which would lose. But instead you go c5, and then you're winning. But yeah, quite an interesting interesting turn of event happened in this game. Because so black played f5, which is already a mistake. But I'm pretty sure Grayson, when he was playing these moves, he was kind of like assuming that it's this is yeah, and Grayson was playing pretty quickly here. He played it in like 10 seconds. So he was like really as you could see by the time usage, he was blitzing every move out, right? And uh yeah, I think he just assumed it's an easy win no matter what. But the problem was like it was all because he missed this one idea by white at the very end. Yeah, exactly. So G3. And here B6 still is a draw, but already only a draw. King E3, B5, King T3 would be a draw. White would like have that position. Yes, exactly. Yes. So he played B5 here. Oh, well, actually, yeah, everything was done like within like he's playing under 10 seconds a move, right? Because the time's not moving here. And then boom, something really nasty surprise happened, right? Which I think everybody is now seeing. Yeah, white can play B4, a really nasty breakthrough. And now, Grayson took time, right? But it was already too late, right? So we have to be very careful in opponent games, right? And this was like a game, to get 6 out of 7, right? To finish on a good note. Yeah, exactly, right? So that's why it's a very good lesson for everyone to never rush in king and pawn endgame, right? You have to be very careful till then. Don't just assume things, right? You have to like calculate, you have to consider all of the opponent's options. Consider all of the options. And yeah, and after this, a6, yeah, king, yeah, if king c6, of course, d5, right? And white wins. And the big difference, by the way, if black takes first, and here white can go king c2, which is, yeah, exactly. King pawn is more about calculation, right? Very little intuition. Have to actually calculate. This is winning for white. And that's why this only works with the king on d3, right? Like if you try to do this with the king on e3, it does not work, right? Because black queens first. And yeah, exactly. Pawn on. So hopefully you guys learned some good lessons from these like end games, rook end games, king and pawn end games, king activity, rook activity, and most importantly, don't rush in the king and pawn end games, right? Because you can get a nasty surprise. Okay, so let's allow everyone to chat, and I'll see you guys all later.